essentially the agenda for today, I want to talk about the launch timeline, and then I want to fill you guys in on the marketing activities that we have planned in the next few weeks. And then we'll do a quick little demo of Bonfire. If you guys haven't actually played with it or seen it, it's probably worth taking 5 minutes to do so. And then we'll cover some of the FAQ items that that we're putting into the FAQ that's public. And then if you guys have any other stuff that needs to be added to that, we can take that on and deal with it. So if there's anything else that I left off that you're curious about, just let me know as we go. So the big thing date-wise is that tomorrow is the day that we go live with the generally available version. And then we've been in beta since Summit, and so 1.0 is going to go live tomorrow at 9 a.m. Well, we'll try to push all the bits out between 6 and 9 a.m. tomorrow as far as the website and the press release and all that sort of stuff. The introductory pricing, which has been available since the beta, will continue until September 15th. And the reason we're doing that is that the current plan is for the Rise of the Machines and the new pricing associated with that to come out at the end of September. So we wanted to create an artificial kind of impetus to close some sales before then. But obviously people don't know about Rise of the Machines. So.
Are we telling people then that the price ends September 15th?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So that will be public, although we'll get to that in a little bit. It won't necessarily be super apparent on WAC. And then the other date that's probably critical is that we will not have Bonfire available on Studio until Rise of the Machines, which is at the end of September. So we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into the FAQ. Any questions on dates? So as far as the marketing activities, what's going to happen tomorrow is, well, late tonight, Sydney's going to push out all the bits so you can get the final available for download. We'll update WAC along with the entry that's on pluginsonatlassian.com plus the documentation that's on CAC. So all that stuff will go live tomorrow morning, probably at like around 6 a.m. And then the press release will hit the news wire then as well. And we briefed a couple of outlets already, including TechCrunch and ReadWriteWeb and a couple of other places. So hopefully they're going to write about it. We've also given partners a bunch of materials, so hopefully partners will start blogging about it starting tomorrow. There will be an email going out tomorrow to all the people that were part of the beta. So anybody who signed up for the beta, which is about 600 people, they're all going to get an email tomorrow saying that the beta is over, the GA version is available. It'll encourage them to do one of two things: either upgrade to the 1.0 or to buy with the introductory pricing. So that's the main call to action in that email. We're not going to blast all Jira customers until next Monday. So there's a little bit of a reprieve there, but next Monday we're planning on sending an email out to anybody who owns Jira, letting them know that Bonfire is available, giving them links to some of the blogs, different material, and trying to get them to try it out. And that email will be segmented based on whether they own Greenhopper or Bamboo or neither. Does that make sense? Because we know this is an agile tool. It's focused on agile teams, and we know that if they own Bamboo or Greenhopper, there's a chance that they're agile for two different reasons. So we'll try to target those specifically. As far as blogs, there'll be an announcement tomorrow on the Jira blog that the beta is over and that it's generally available. There'll also be the press release will be on the news blog. And then on the developer blog, we're going to have a bunch of posts like by Andrew Prentice, who did the presentation at Summit, with some more background on agile testing and stuff like that. So there's a bunch of collateral that's going to hit on all the blogs in the next couple of days, and that's going to continue over the next couple of weeks. The details of that are spelled out in the launch plan material that's on the EAC. And then the other marketing activity that's going on is that we're sending a team to Agile 2011. That's in Salt Lake City in the second week in August. So we'll do a little bit of kind of energy around that, and hopefully there'll be some stuff to come out of that. May not affect you guys hugely, but just want to make sure that you guys are aware of that. So if you talk to any prospects that may be going or may be interested in Agile stuff, let them know that we're going to have Christina, Edwin, Nick, and John Silvers are all going to be at the booth in Salt Lake City. And Bonfire will be one of the main things that we focus on at that event.
Okay.
Yep.
The starter license, Jira holders getting emailed too?
Yes, I assume so. So the email that's going to go out next week is going to go to a pretty big audience. And depending on how big that list is, we may stagger it just to throttle the reply and the throughput on it. Yeah, I'll make this a little bit bigger so you guys can actually see what I'm reading. Yep.
The CSC documentation you said you're going to update, is it going to give you step-by-step of how to go from beta to 1.0?
Yes, good point. There actually is a very specific upgrade path from beta to 1.0 that's different than just upgrading in general. So the two links that are in that email that's going out tomorrow, the upgrade link goes to that documentation very specifically. So and then the buy link goes directly to the pricing page, which I can show you what they look like in a second. Following next week, we're going to be doing a bunch of PR outreach over the next probably 2-3 weeks leading up through the Agile event. We'll do we'll try to continue to brief the different sort of news outlets, including Inc. magazine and a bunch of other stuff. And then there's a whole slew of QA forums and very QA and testing specific communities that we're going to try to reach out to as well and try to get the various blog posts that we have lined up, get those reposted and talked about there. So that's some of the stuff going on there. Any questions on marketing activities? I think that's most of the big stuff. The one thing that I left off here is the webinar, because we're not necessarily scheduling a webinar on this. So there won't be a webinar like we've done traditionally with other Jira releases. Whether or not we have one for Jira 4.4 is up in the air still. But if we do have one for 4.4, that's where we'll talk about Bonfire. There is a video available on the website. Encourage people to go check that out. All right.
Can you get to the website now from the main WAC? Or do you still have to go through that software?
Yeah, so a couple of things that we're changing. So the Jira pricing page is going to look like this now. First, you'll notice that the call to action is switching from Greenhopper to Bonfire up here. And then if you look at the pricing table, we've rejigged this a little bit to add a Bonfire column in the middle. And we're actually going to add a little call out to indicate that this is the temporary pricing or the introductory pricing. But the intro pricing is 40% off, essentially what the Greenhopper pricing is. And then, yeah, so that's what's changing on the pricing page. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that, and then also, is there an actual Bonfire product page?
Yes, the Bonfire product page is live today. Looks like this.
It's in what, DevTools?
Part of DevTools.
Yeah, it's under DevTools. It's right here.
Bonfire, there you go.
Can we get a Jira plus Bonfire plus Greenhopper column?
Yeah, people are going to ask about
So yeah, so this table is totally borked, and ideally it would have 7 columns given the different permutations we could do now. We actually killed the Jira hosted plus Greenhopper column to make room for this. This is temporary. All of this will be replaced when we do Rise of the Machines and the new WAC. So I don't really want to over-architect this because this is all going to go away. But this is just it for now. So if people want Greenhopper and Bonfire and Jira, they're going to have to either do some math or call you guys to do math for them.
Or just do it in the order form.
Yeah, or do it in the order form in the shopping cart. So, but yeah, the product page for Bonfire is not changing a whole lot. There's a few minor things that we're updating, and I'll get into kind of the messaging a little bit when we do the technical demo. Any other questions?
Wait, so the eval is still in beta?
I'm sorry?
Is the evaluation still in beta?
No. Well, so tomorrow this download beta button will be gone, and it'll have a try button.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
And how long is the introductory pricing, the 40% off go?
September 15th. Yeah, that's the date. So it's about 2 months from today. I just picked an arbitrary date, 15th, so nice round number. It's a Thursday. Yeah, don't think it'll be too complicated.
What are we hoping to sell?
A lot.
Any numbers?
Well, right now we've already sold 22 commercial licenses, and we've sold. Oh, I should bring it up. Let's see if you have.
Recent. Or there's a bonfire dashboard.
Yeah, there's a bonfire dashboard.
Yeah.
So the starter license isn't eligible for 40% off, right?
No.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. So right now we've sold 22 commercial licenses and 321 starter licenses, and that's without even having the GA product. I wanna make sure that we have more sales than team calendars.
I'm not surprised.
That's my goal.
How many is team calendars sold?
Well, they already
They're
went.
not beta.
No, they've been live for a while, but we I don't know. I have that on another page. I'll pull that up later. So let's talk about the product itself. So has anybody here played with it?
Yes.
All right, cool. I'm going to take 5 minutes to show you how easy it is to actually use it. Do you have it installed on here?
Yeah, on the ESCJ. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So once you have
Actually, no, not on Firefox.
Oh, there we go. All right, so we got to install it. So the first thing that'll happen is that you need to install the plugin via the Universal Plugin Manager. And so one of the FAQ questions that I have is it a browser extension or is it a plugin? And it's actually both. First, you install the plugin, and that will in turn enable the Jira instance. It does the licensing and enables the Jira instance to support Bonfire. And then after that, you'll go into the little name drop down up in the corner, and you'll notice that there's a link that says Get Bonfire. And so anybody who has access can go in here, and they'll get a big,
Really big.
sorry for my resolution here, a big button to download the browser extension for their chosen browser. So this happens to be for Firefox, so we'll just install it. And of course, we got to restart. It's not going to cause any problems.
No.
Supported for IE up to IE7.
It's supported for IE, Firefox, Safari, and Chrome, and it's all the latest versions. The specifics are on the pricing page. All right. So now we've installed it. Go to the other.
Oh, you already did.
Already did. Okay. So let's go back to where's that issue? All right, so let's just do this. So now what you'll see, all right, I'm going to go back to the issue we were in before. So a couple things happen now that this is installed. First of all, you can hit the little bonfire button in the corner, and it'll actually bring out the issue submission guy on the side where you can enter in a ticket really easy, and you can hit create issue. I'm not going to do that real quick because I want to show you something else. So if you go into any issue inside of Jira, in the actions button, oh man, sorry, this resolution's a little bit messed up. In the actions button, you can create a test session. So I'm just going to do bonfire demo session. Once you've created a session, what this allows you to do is track all the testing activity that's going on for this particular issue in one place. So I go into Test Sessions tab here in the issue, and you'll notice that I've created one, so I can jump into it, and then I can start it. So now that it's started, I get a big indication up here that I'm in a session, and I can actually start using Bonfire. So
is there a time where you would create a test session and not start it right away? Like, what's the use case for that? Because it doesn't seem very intuitive that they have to like go to a whole nother spot to like start it.
Edwin, do you want to comment on that?
Sorry, I did not hear the comment.
Sorry, I'm just wondering what the use case would be for someone to create a test session but not start it. So like here, like they create it and then they have to like know to go to the test sessions tab and then click on this test session and then click start.
Yeah. So the thinking behind test sessions is that people also plan out the work they like to do. So if you think of a scenario, you can say a Scrum iteration planning situation, and QA is involved in that planning meeting. What we anticipate people to do is that people could when they create a story, when they discuss a story and talk about having it tested, is actually create all these different sessions that they'd like to run through when they actually test it. So the act of planning out what they're testing is not necessarily the same as, and at the same instance as, actually starting the testing.
Cool. So when it's got a test session open, can they see that from other places in the Jira issue view? Like on a place where you see multiple test sessions at the same time?
From the project page as well.
Okay.
So you can have multiple started at the same time per user, right? So that yellow bar there will change to the one that you have active. So if you go start another one, your current one will be stopped.
Or sorry, I was just thinking like in terms of their planning, like could they schedule it in like a green hopper thing, or does it change the state of the
not today.
The issue? Okay.
Right now it's pretty basic, but we'll add more functionality
cool.
in the future versions. Cool. But essentially, what you'll see here is that I get my little panel on the side. One of the key features I can do is I can add a screenshot. So simply I click this, and it takes the page that I was on. So imagine if you're testing a web app, you can very quickly add a screenshot, and you can then annotate it. So I can draw boxes around stuff. I can add arrows to stuff. I can write on it. I can blur things out. I can do a variety of stuff. So all of this gets automatically attached to the issue. So I could say test issue, ignore, and I probably want to put it in test project so we can ignore it. Give it a description, give it labels. You can do whatever you want, and then create the issue. Oh, looks like we have an error. Oh well. And then you can file another bug. So the big value add here is that if you're testing a web app, you can rapidly file bugs from within the application. So you don't have to do switch to another tab or switch to another window to have Jira up side by side to do all this testing. You can do it all kind of at the same time. So once you're done, let's get out of Bonfire. You can go back here and you can complete the session. Oops, let me actually refresh this first. So you'll notice that all the activity that happened during the session is recorded. So in this case, I created it, I started it, and then I created an issue, and then now I'm going to complete it. The cool thing I can do is all the issues that I created during that session, I can link them to the parent issue if I want, or not. And then I can log the amount of time I spent. So I spent 5 minutes on this. And I can log it against that parent issue, which was there. So now you have some stats on what you did in that particular session. And you can notice here I'm in the marketing project. So if you look at the test sessions tab inside of the marketing project, you can see all the sessions for issues inside of this particular project. Does that make sense, Mel?
Yeah. So it created a new Jira issue for the bug.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, and then if I'd chosen, it would have linked it to the parent issue that I was testing. So that if that was a user story, or maybe it was a bug that I was verifying, it would link it back to that.
Right. So it could be just like something random that you came across. It doesn't have to go to that one.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yep. So that's kind of how sessions work and how the screenshots work. The only other thing that I didn't mention is that there's this notion of templates, and I don't have any created, but essentially what you can do is you can create a template, and that will pre-populate a bunch of the fields that need to be filled in, like maybe the environment variable or the effects version component. So you can set up templates ahead of your testing to pre-populate all these different fields. And there's both static variables you can set and dynamic variables within that.
What's the syntax for dynamic variables?
I haven't really played around with it too much, so I'm not sure.
Sorry, I only asked that because I'm pretty sure you would know the answer.
Yeah. Edwin, the syntax for dynamic variables, is that available in the docs?
The syntax for the variables is whatever the variable name is surrounded in curly braces.
Cool.
curly braces.
Specimen of braces.
And if you click on the documentation link, you'll get a full, detailed, rich documentation experience. Right, Edwin?
You can see it now, actually. Go to the user guide and then templates and variables.
Are the docs final, by the way, or are they still going to be enhanced?
They're still being worked on.
Okay. So here's an example of creating your own variables.
So cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Are you wooed now?
So
So wooed.
40% off until September, you know.
Yeah.
FYI.
get it while it's hot. Yeah. So again, it's a plugin. It's also a browser extension for the 4 browsers that we support. There's really 4 key features that we want to talk about: the in-app bug reporting, the screenshots with the annotations and the cropping and all that, the test sessions, and the templates. Those are kind of the 4 pillars of functionality. Make sense? So last thing that I did was I put together an FAQ, and I apologize for Confluence for completely foobarring all the formatting, but that's just what it does. So I will I'll fix that before it gets out on CAC. But I put a couple of questions on here, very similar to what we did for Confluence team calendars. And if there's something that you feel is missing that we need to add to it, let me know, and I'll make sure to get that in there as far as what you need to refer people to. But it's a pretty short list, so let's just run through it real quick. I kind of explained the plugin versus browser extension differentiation. Also, link about how to set it up, pointing to the install guide. It's currently compatible with Jira 4.2.4 and beyond, but not before. And that's not going to change. 4.2.4. So if they're on 4.2, they need to make sure they're on the latest, minor release of 4.2.
Yeah, there will be there is a compatibility chart on the CAC space as well.
Yep, there is. And there's also a mention of that inside of the pricing page in the little compatibility area. I'm also planning to install Bonfire on the sandbox, unless Edwin knows of a reason why we shouldn't. So that'll be
this, by the way, we will very shortly get Bonfire on Jack as well, assuming all things are good. So there's been some challenges getting on Jack. We've been trying to do it for a while, but that is coming as well.
So Sandbox and Jack are going to be the 2 places where you can play around with it, or customers can play around with it without actually having to.
Will ever have a university lesson?
Not in the short term. I don't know if we. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's gonna.
So I could see that being.
Yeah, that's a good call. So one other question I have actually for Edwin. Sorry to put you on the spot. If I'm using multiple Jira instances that are different versions and they all have Bonfire, how does my browser react to that?
So was that a question for us?
Yes.
Okay, so this is going to be a little bit tricky. So to clarify, right now you cannot simultaneously connect the browser extension to multiple servers, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is that there is a certain level of compatibility between different versions of the browser extension and certain server versions. So there is some leeway there. So in the perspective that if it's a minor release difference between the browser extension and the server plugin, they will talk to each other. If there is a major version difference between the browser plugin, the browser extension, and the server plugin, the browser extension will not connect to the server plugin. Have I made any sense?
Yep.
Makes sense.
Yes, not.
Nope.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Good. Just checking.
Should we add that to the FAQ?
Yeah, we probably should. There is a lot of security type challenges that we face as well. We are well aware of it because there is now three-way compatibility. So there is the Jira itself, the server plugin for Bonfire, and then there is the browser extension. And we're trying to tackle that as best as we could in product. So what that means is we're trying to make our product smarter. When you try to connect to things that it cannot talk to, it will say, bugger off. Go upgrade one or upgrade the other, right? Essentially, that's what we're trying to work towards. And that is also the reason why we have a special guide for beta customers moving to 1.0, because the beta browser extension does not talk to the 1.0 final server plugin.
Yeah, so that's going to get a little bit tricky, but hopefully not something we run into too much. So, any questions on that? All right, so the next thing is where can I give feedback? And there's a project on Jack for Bonfire, so point people there for suggestions, ideas, that sort of stuff. Pricing promotion is going to end September 15th. This is the one place where we're going to put it. We're not going to put it on WAC because we don't want people to see it and then decide to wait to purchase. There'll be a disclaimer that this is a temporary pricing thing, so hopefully the people will have an impetus to buy. But if people want to know specifically what the data is, we can send them to this FAQ for details.
So I guess an FYI, there may be the possibility that existing beta customers, the whole 25 of them, some of them may come back and demand to kind of get some compensation for the fact that they bought early, but the discount period goes up to the 15th of September. I think we can deal with those at a case-by-case basis, but be aware of them. But in general, I think the guideline for me is to be as lenient, as nice to them as possible, because they've done a lot for us.
Wait, so what would they want?
So if they purchased today, or 2 weeks ago, they purchased 2 weeks ago, and we release the product 1.0 tomorrow, then next July 1st, their maintenance will already be expired. So they paid for maintenance while the product was in beta.
Oh, I see.
So the guideline is probably going to be that we'll just credit them a few weeks of maintenance.
Okay.
Cool. If they kick up a fuss.
Yeah, if they fuss, go to Edwin and ask him how to handle
We just
it.
do it proactively, and all the ones that buy, just give them maintenance until tomorrow next year.
Yeah, I mean, given that it's only 25, it's not like a big co-terming issue.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys want to do that, that's your call. But err on the side of just doing the right thing.
Nice.
So they were super helpful to us.
Let's do it.
So Edwin, correct me if I'm wrong, but Bonfire will not be available for Jira hosted in the sense that we will not have pricing for Jira hosted, and we will not sell them a license for Jira hosted. However, there's really nothing to stop them from installing it on Jira hosted because they have access to it.
That is correct. So if they buy Bonfire themselves and request to have it installed on essentially what we call enterprise hosted or Jira hosted, today they could. I don't see there's any reason why they can't do that. It's the same as any other plugin they'd like to get installed on Jira hosted.
Mm-hmm.
We do not work on Studio, so that's different.
Yep.
So that will not come until Rise of the Machine goes live.
So all of those would be a creative support impact. If they want Bonfire for the Jira hosted instance, it'll be a creative support.
They can do it themselves.
I think they can do it themselves because they can just go to the UPM and go to the install tab, type in Bonfire, and hit install, and it'll just work.
But we're not advertising.
No, because so here's the deal. There's no pricing for it. There's no pricing for it, and it's not in the shopping cart, so they can't actually buy
You
it.
can buy Jira hosted and then add Greenhopper for another $50 a month or whatever. There's no option for Bonfire for that, and we're not building
Plugin
it.
exchange.
Yeah,
So they would just have to buy.
So you can either buy
the
a permanent license and put it onto hosted,
yeah.
or you can just run the trial on hosted, and that's what we're telling people to do.
So I think what's going to happen if questions come in, because people are going to be like, hey, I'm on Jira hosted, I downloaded the eval, how do I purchase it? And what we should tell them, what we should do is just extend their eval beyond the end of Rise of the Machines, and then once Rise of the Machines comes out and they get flipped from Jira hosted to Rise of the Machines, then there will be pricing for them.
So what are we
So we're talking about,
doing
like,
that
8
delays?
weeks.
So just,
Just-
give them a 90 days.
Just say we're working on it. You know,
Working on something?
we're working on getting Bonfire added to Jira hosted,
Okay.
and in the meantime, we'll just extend your evaluation for free until that happens.
So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, so don't give them a date. Don't tell them about machines. Just tell them that we're working on it and give them some leniency on the eval.
Cool.
So I will add a question about multi instance to the FAQ, and then was there anything else that we needed to add?
The first year pricing, just for our clarification, is only for the first year. So if you buy 36 months of Bonfire, you pay the introductory price, and then the 2-year renewal is a regular price.
We've been giving people the introductory rate on multi-year purchases.
Sweet.
So there's only been, I think, 1 or 2 people that did it. Taras did one of those.
Okay.
But yeah, somebody bought 2 years right off the bat, so we gave it to them at the discount rate.
Okay, cool.
Early bird gets the worm.
I think on your FAQ you want to include the minor release difference, major release difference compatibility as well.
Yeah, so
There's a sales FAQ and there's a technical FAQ, right?
well, right now there
Right now
is
there's
just
one.
one FAQ and there's nothing in it. So this will be what's in it.
Okay.
And
In Studio they have
I'll
it
segment it out if we
Yeah.
have to, but it'll be inside the documentation. So if you follow, let's see, I think it was over here. Yeah. So if you go back to, let's see, the Bonfire documentation homepage, there should be an FAQ. There'll be an FAQ link over here. It's in the nav, but it's not in there. But that's where it lives. So it'll live in here.
Is there a full licensing and pricing link?
I mean, it's the standard boilerplate that's in all of our stuff. So it just goes to the generic one. There's nothing specific.
Is academic pricing?
Yep. Academic pricing. Actually, let's see. I think this isn't going to work. No.
Yeah, what's the academic pricing or the nonprofit open source?
Non-profit open source is free, and academic is half. So that is pretty much what I had to cover here. Is there anything else that you guys have questions or comments about?
I know we have Bonfire t-shirts.
Bonfire t-shirts.
'Cause I'd like to wear one at Agile 2011.
Edwin?
Edwin.
I created it just for Jeff Quick.
Oh, who's hiding over
And
there?
we're working on it.
Just don't make them orange.
For someone over there.
But, yeah, we'll try not to. We're
Okay.
trying to shoot the product first, then we're working on a t-shirt.
Oh, well, alright, I guess.
Yeah, design resources are hard to come by these days.
Who is that?
Oh, Andrew, you're in there.
Oh.
I was wondering who.
Yeah, I was just working.
I was wondering who that mystery voice was off camera. So
Just as an aside, there's another page that we track sales on, and I noticed that looks like we've got one for $6,800 coming the other night.
oh, no way.
Woo.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest. So I went through the list today trying to find the biggest customers that we've got, so we can add a couple logos. The 2 that I pulled out that are probably brand recognizable are Thomas Cook, the big travel company. It's an international travel company.
Okay.
It's not big here, but it's big there.
Yeah. There's a world outside America.
Yeah. And then
and it's Thomas Cook.
and then Case, KACE, who got acquired by Dell. So it's actually Dell Case. So we'll put the Thomas Cook, Dell, and Case logos up on the Bonfire page. If you guys can dig out any other big names, I couldn't really find anybody that wasn't sort of a niche player in the list. But if you know of any other big players, huh?
Pentagon.
Yeah, I saw the Pentagon. Should we throw the Pentagon logo up there? I don't know if anybody would recognize the Pentagon logo though. It's just like it's like
What's the logo?
it's like an American eagle with like a flag and a
It's not a Pentagon.
Every government agency
The Pentagon flag.
It's just a middle finger and American flag.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Are there any really big bugs that people are complaining about right now? Like anything we should know about? If people are like, this isn't working, and we can be like, oh yeah, we know about that.
Excellent question. Hey, Edwin. Question about, are there any known issues that are rather significant that we should be aware of?
Sorry, I did not catch that.
Known issues or bugs?
Can you go back to the 1.0 launch page on the marketing space? And then if you go to a child page, only some support radios thing at the bottom somewhere. There's a support radios information. There are more FAQs here, by the way, that I prepared for the support team. There's a high level of overlap, so I might munch these two together again and do an FAQ. But sorry, there is another page underneath this page, which is a troubleshooting page. And this lists all the things that we have run across in beta that customers have talked to us about. I have listed as much as I could think of, put down the reasons and the symptoms and things they could do to fix it. And this will turn into a troubleshooting page on CAC as well.
Cool.
So right now it's a guide for the support team to figure out how to deal with problems, but it will turn into a troubleshooting guide for customers to self-help.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Are there any
Yeah. Sorry, was that what you're looking for, Ken?
Yep.
It's perfect.
Perfect.
on our YouTube channel? Are there any videos or like on the website itself?
Yeah, there's 2 videos that are worth knowing about, and I'll do an internal blog post tonight with links to both of those. One is the overview video. It's about 2 minutes long. It's essentially the demo that Mike did at Summit with a little bit of background music. And then there's an installation video that shows what I demoed here today, the actual going to the UPM, downloading the plugin, going to the browser, installing the browser extension, and then filing an issue. And that's also from Summit. So those 2 videos, I'll include the embed codes for that.
They're where? They're on the website or they're on YouTube channel?
They're on YouTube.